Hi there, this is my 1/3 checkpoint on my 156 challenge. Welcome. This is quite an unusual video for me because I've actually scripted this one quite quickly. I spent some time just on my face before the Lord, and then as I got up I felt really inspired on the things that I wanted to share, so ended up just quickly writing a script just handwritten notes here. So it's going to be a little different because I'm going to be reading from this. Hopefully I can still make it a little engaging. But yeah, that's to explain why if I keep looking down, that's what's going on here. So if you're new to my video journal, this is also going to serve as a quick intro to what's going on. So welcome and thanks for joining. I am approximately 1/3 through a challenge from the Lord that started on June the 10th of this year and will conclude, God himself willing, of course, on December the 10th of this year. So I'm 1/3 through. And as divine coincidence or whatever happens, that is also my 35th wedding anniversary with Heather, December 10th. So what is this challenge all about? The 156 challenge is for me to commit to 6 days a week for 26 weeks to not go to bed until I have actively, intentionally spoken to at least one person that I do not know about Jesus. Specifically, this might be testimony, sharing a brief gospel message, or praying for them, or however God leads. So yeah, 6 days a week for 26 weeks, 6 times 26 is 156. So why would God challenge me to do this? Well, really, it's his answer to a deep longing within myself. I'm sure inspired by him as well, to become more effective as his witness, as an ambassador for Christ in this world. The goal is to engage people in the course of everyday life, wherever I might be, whatever I might be doing. And as of today, I'm 9 weeks complete into this, or 54 days, 6 days a week for 9 weeks. So my video journal has the rhythm of a brief YouTube short, under 1 minute that is, every day, simply summarizing my attempts that day and what happened. And then on day 7 each week, I've been posting a longer, approximately 5 to 10 minute check-in video, giving a summary of the week and my reflections as I continue along the journey. I also share a highlight of the week, some tips that I'm learning along the way, and typically also a devotional insight of some kind, and oftentimes a prayer request too. So this video that you're watching right now is one of only 2 that I plan to do on the whole 156 challenge. And this is what I'm calling a checkpoint video at the 1/3 marker. And I'll plan to do another checkpoint video at the 2/3 point marker also. That will be in week 18, day 2. So at the end of week 18, I'll do checkpoint 2. I reached the 1/3 point just this past week in week 9 on day 4. So let's get going with this, with just some kind of summary reflections that I've written down here. First of all, let me just say it's been an absolute thrill for me to be able to do this. You know, in my entire 37 years as a Christian, I don't know, I've probably not spoken to as many people intentionally in this way as I have in the last 9 weeks. That's crazy, that thought. Second point is just I've had to reflect on setting expectations and the clear parameters of what I'm trying to do here. You know, in the past, I've done evangelism training where it's kind of focused on bringing the whole message, and the goal or the desired outcome is to get someone to say yes to Jesus, pray a prayer, and receive him into their life at the end. Whereas, you know, it's now shifted. Like what I'm doing on this challenge, I will call more about engaging in what the Lord might be doing in that specific person's life along their journey. So a lot briefer, more likely. That other approach is more of a preaching approach, right? When you've got more time with people, oftentimes they've come along to listen. But this is more just about participation in that bigger picture. It might be sowing a seed. It might be watering a seed that someone else has sown. It might be just creating interest. just loving on people really from Father's heart as well. So how's it gone? Well, one thing that I've noticed is there's been a lot of believers. And at times that's really felt intentional, like the Lord was leading it that way. So in one sense, this witnessing challenge includes also being a bit of a street pastor, not just a street evangelist. And you know what that shows me? It shows me that God cares deeply and intensely about his people. Another thought, just reflecting back, is there's been very few rebuttals. Probably I could count them on the fingers of one hand. Right, most people have been willing to engage. I think that's partly due to me opening the conversation with a message of love and grace. I think it's also partly due to the fact that I've been asking the Lord to lead me to the right people. Right, so that's really interesting. And like I said a minute ago, these have been mostly short encounters. They might just be a minute or two. Maybe it'll go to 3 or 4 or 5. But often it's just, just a minute or two. And it can be anywhere that I happen to be. So I've had these opportunities when I've been at a checkout line in a store, talking to a server in a restaurant, checking into a hotel, even passing through an airport. And even, I would say, remarkably, just this past week, even standing next to a statue of Ronald Reagan. You can check out week 9, day 1 short for that one. And these encounters with people are not intended to be at all preachy. It is sharing truth, but it's really just trying to engage with them on more of a relational, friendly level. Another reflection point for me is it has been quite a lot about me. I don't want to sound selfish about that, but it's been about the Lord opening my heart, breaking up that hard shell, getting me more into willingness to talk to people, getting me over that self-consciousness kind of feeling. And even, I would say, caring more about others and growing in willingness and boldness. I did have one person receive Christ in a store. She was actually serving on the checkout. It was pretty quick, but she prayed to receive Jesus. I've also had opportunities to pray for specific needs, including healing on occasion. And really just sensing the Lord taking me through a journey of exploring, engaging gifts of the word of knowledge, of prophecy as well, and learning to really look for his leading as I go. I'd say the overall goal for me is to come out of this changed, right? But also more effective as well in fulfilling what God has called me to do and what he's called me to be, which essentially, in a simple phrase, is a mobilizer of believers into the harvest. And specifically in my vision, that would be from a place of secure, vibrant, small group community in Christ. Community that engages the fullness of Jesus in the new creation, ready to take this to others, and ready and equipped to welcome those that receive Jesus into our committed community of friends. If you haven't heard me talk about that before, our vision is for small groups called New Creation Inns, I-N-N, Inns. Inspired by the Good Samaritan story, you remember he took the guy that he helped on the side of the road and he took him to an inn to recover. And I've known for years that we need a place like that, a welcoming place, a friendly place, if we are ever to be successful in properly reaching others with the gospel. Our small group is fashioned for that purpose. You can check out more about that if you want to at a website that we've got running at ins.network. You can see there the basic vision, some how-tos, and even some daily studies organized around a 5-part new creation series called The Goal is Whole. Well, we've seen some success with building community like that and had some inspiring groups, some great relationships and all that, but it's never really moved gear into this mobilization vision. And this year, the Lord really showed me that I needed to break into that more myself first. I cannot lead, he said, where I do not live myself. And that's why I have this 156 challenge going on. So where to from here? Well, on into the second third of the journey starting tomorrow, week 10, day 1. And I'm sensing a little bit of a pivot, maybe more of a growth point. And I'm not totally sure what that is. So please just pray with me as I move forwards, looking for that. But in closing here, I wanted to just share one revelation, devotional revelation really, that I felt the Lord give me in a creative way this week. And it might well be a hint to what that coming pivot might be. Well, all this happened while I was in a very fascinating store nearby us here called Shields. They have a lot of sports gear, clothing, and equipment for almost every outdoor pursuit imaginable. But in this store, uniquely, they also have a glass archway as you walk in that's also an aquarium filled with tropical fish. So as I started looking at this, I was really stirred by the story where Jesus first called some fishermen to be his disciples. He said, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." You know, in some ways, that's a good picture or summary of where I hope this 156 challenge is leading me. But here's what got to me as I stood there in that store this week looking at that. You know, I've always seen the analogy as the fishing that those guys were used to, right? Where the fish really were a commodity, something that they would catch to sell as food, as a means of income. And you know what I'm feeling is that sometimes we can fall into that kind of approach when it's witnessing as well to the Lord, where fishing for men is a project, where each person even is a project, a commodity to catch. Sometimes we even use the phrase soul winning. But there in Shields this week, I was gripped by how stunningly spectacular each fish was in that aquarium. So many varieties, beautiful colors, a picture of God's creation, so precious. And I sense the Lord cautioning me about how I might see people on this challenge. They're not a project, they're not a commodity, they're not a trophy to catch or win, or a means to some kind of spiritual income. Not at all. Each one is a unique individual of incredible value. The Father sent Jesus to pay the price to welcome them home to him. So seeing people like that, I think, is going to be key to engaging his heart better. And our mission is to find a way not to catch them really, but rather to open a limitless new ocean to those fish, those people, where they can thrive and flourish into their purpose and calling and their destiny. So I need to put my fishing pole and my fishing net away and re-envision fishing for men as serving them in some way into salvation and freedom, loving them into the kingdom. Well, if this message or my ongoing challenge interests you, please subscribe to my channel and look out for my daily shorts that will be coming up again starting tomorrow with week 10, day 1 and ongoing. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you.